Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight.
Former President Donald Trump is close to victory this morning, just moments away from becoming the next president of the United States. Where the electoral votes stand right now, and when we'll hear from Vice President Kamala Harris.
We also know now who will be the next leader of North Carolina schools, and we'll break down the new results from the state superintendent race.
And we have the potential for some patchy fog this morning, not as dense as it was yesterday, but as you're heading out, I'll show you what it will look like. For a third of the time, post-election, sort of. Still have some things to figure out here, but it may be all academic at this point. Lots to get into on our Wednesday morning. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. I'm sure at some point last night there was a cutoff point for you where you said, okay, going to bed. But we have a lot more answers for you this morning about where the races stand. WRAL is your election source for election results with everything you need to know since you went to bed last night. Our team of reporters is tracking the big races still up in the air and the ones already decided. First, let's check in with Elizabeth Gardner with a look at the forecast.
We'll start off with a live look in downtown Raleigh, where it is quiet as we take a look down Fayetteville Street. Not very breezy. I saw clear skies when I walked in this morning. Some pretty stars out there. It's a warm one too, 62 degrees, and our dew point at 58, which still feels on the comfortable side. I'll be watching the visibility closely this morning. We're down to 2 miles in Clinton, a mile in Roxborough, and half a mile in South Hill. But we're not seeing a quarter of a mile anywhere yet. If we do, I'll definitely let you know because we would consider that fog. 60s this morning. We'll see another very warm afternoon. 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies, but we will see the clouds thickening up this evening and overnight some rain. This is 10 p.m. and you can see by 2 and 3 a.m. we have a 60% chance of rain, and that rain does continue into tomorrow morning. We'll walk through it on Futurecast coming up in just a few minutes. We'll take a look at Rafael, which is a hurricane now, could be a major hurricane as it makes landfall in Cuba, but as it starts to move through the Gulf of Mexico, it is likely to weaken and it may be down to a tropical storm if it even makes landfall along the Gulf Coast. It's possible that it will just fizzle out. But we'll definitely talk about what our potential is there and our chances for rain in the next week coming up.
Thanks for that, Elizabeth. Former President Donald Trump is close to claiming a second term as president of the United States. This is a live look right now at the White House this morning. Right now, Trump has 267 electoral votes, 3 away from the magic number of 270. Vice President Kamala Harris has 224 votes. WRAL's Heidi Kirk joins us live from the Wake County Board of Elections office. And Heidi, Trump was able to secure major battleground victories, including here in North Carolina.
Jeff, that's right. And it's been a busy day here at the North Carolina State Board of Elections where I'm standing, where they've been working to make sure that all 2,000 precincts here in the state of North Carolina, every single vote is counted. Now let's get straight to that electoral map and break down some of those numbers for you. Now, as you're going to see here, you'll see that former President Donald Trump has 267 out of the 270 electoral votes needed to win the White House. Republican Donald Trump has been projected to win 3 of the 7 heavily contested battleground states, including here in North Carolina. Now, votes in other swing states are still being counted, including Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin. The margins were slim here in the battleground state of North Carolina. According to the results from the North Carolina State Board of Elections, 100% of all 2,658 precincts have reported their results as of now. Now, former President Donald Trump won more than 50% of the vote. Now, Trump spoke in Florida within just the last 2 hours, declaring his victory. And of course, it's worth noting that at this point, we do not know for sure that the former president has won the election. And it's worth noting that elections officials say that election night results are unofficial until they are certified 10 days after the election. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
This morning, we're taking a county-by-county look at how Donald Trump won North Carolina. WRAL's Michelle McConaughey is digging into those numbers And Michelle, Kamala Harris didn't get the turnout she was hoping to get in the state's urban areas.
Yeah, Renee, our North Carolina map shows Harris won in all the state's big cities here. But taking a closer look at those numbers here, Democrats did not give her the support that she needed there. In Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, we'll go over here and you can see those numbers. Harris got about 65% of the vote. Our NC Capitol team projected that she needed to get about 75% of votes there to offset the state's red areas. Now, Trump and J.D. Vance spent a lot of time in the Charlotte area in the weeks leading up to the election, drumming up support. And the results were very similar in Wake and Guilford counties as well. You can see the numbers there. She only got about 60% of the votes in each of those counties. Harris's biggest wins came here in the Triangle and also in the Durham area as well. About 80% of those voters in those counties chose Harris. Now, these are the kinds of numbers that she needed in other urban areas to win the state. Harris won a lot of counties up here in the northeastern part of our state. As you can see, all the blue in that area. But Trump won by a wide margin in many of the areas affected by Helene and in the western part of our state. You can see all the red on the map there. Elsewhere in our area, Trump took a lot of other counties, including Johnston and Nash as well.
Michelle, thanks for that. Similar situations across the country of how that played out. Also new this morning, Mo Green will be North Carolina's next public schools leader. The Democrat leads Republican Michelle Morrow in the race with nearly all the votes reported in now. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from the State Education Building in Raleigh. And Laura, this was a close race all the way.
Absolutely. Good morning, Jeff. The AP calling this race very early this morning, a little over an hour ago. Taking a look at some of that data, you can see with all precincts reporting this morning, Green had 51.1% of the vote, tomorrow's 48.9%, according to unofficial results from the State Board of Elections. Green's lead was about 119,500 votes. Now, Green, who ran Guilford County Schools from 2008 to 2016, hadn't declared victory yet. Earlier this week, his team said he wouldn't comment on the results in any way until 100% of the ballots were counted. WRAL spoke with him before the polls closed yesterday.
I've been a superintendent. I've led complex educational organizations. My opponent has not. I believe in our public schools.
Now, Republican Michelle Morrow, a political outsider and homeschool mom, she left her watch party late last night and didn't concede. Her campaign said she would wait to see how she fared after more results were in. And as she left, her supporters surrounded her and said that they loved her and that the race wasn't over just yet. We will continue to watch for any comments or remarks this morning from either of those candidates as we continue to see the numbers roll in. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Democrat Josh Stein will be North Carolina's next governor. Stein won the race against Republican Mark Robinson by nearly 15 points. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the governor's mansion in downtown Raleigh. And Kelsey, both Stein and Robinson talked about the results to their supporters last night.
Yes, Renee, Democrat Josh Stein will be moving in here to the governor's mansion in the next couple of months. But let's give you a breakdown of those results. Stein received nearly 55% of the vote, while Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson earned about 40% of the vote. That's the same 15-point margin that was shown in our WRAL news poll last week. Both candidates spoke to voters last night.
The people of North Carolina resoundingly embraced a vision that's optimistic, forward-looking, and welcoming. A vision that's about creating opportunity for every North Carolinian.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm disappointed for you because I wanted this so bad for you. I wanted this for the people of North Carolina, not for me. I wanted it for them.
We are particularly concerned.
And Robinson lost support from conservatives in the final weeks leading up to the election. That was after a CNN report said he made lewd and racist comments on a porn site. He denies those allegations. Stein campaigned on promises to support public schools and reproductive rights, and he has made history now as being elected as the first Jewish governor in North Carolina history. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
We've been tracking more than 400 races locally and nationally for you. You can count on the fastest, most complete election results right at your fingertips in the WRAL News app. Scan the QR code on your screen to download the app right now. Make sure you check your settings and enable alerts so you get notifications when key races are called.
There's some big shakeups when it comes to the North Carolina House and Senate. Who now controls the supermajority in the North Carolina General Assembly?
Plus, new funding for public libraries in Wake County. How much money will go toward building new facilities and expanding existing ones?
And we'll give you this live look in Lewisburg. Good morning to you. There is some much needed rain on the way, and meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us when you'll have to dust off that umbrella.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
443, taking a look at some warm temperatures again this morning. 62 in Durham, 62 in Raleigh, and 60 in Fayetteville. We have very cloudy skies out there this morning. We're going to have some low cloud cover, some patchy fog. We haven't seen much of that yet this morning, but sometimes it changes pretty rapidly, so keep checking back before you head out the door. 62 degrees in the Triangle. Again, not as foggy, but we may have some patchy fog in a few spots. Walking the dog this morning, definitely comfortable. You don't need a heavy jacket at all with temperatures in the 60s. We'll see a high of 82, and our evening temperatures will be in the mid 70s. We'll likely stay dry during daylight hours, but we do have a cold front that will be approaching overnight. After midnight, we'll see some showers that will linger into tomorrow. But the models are a little lighter with that rain than they were yesterday. I'll show you how much we could see and when coming up.
Chris Levingood here in the WRAL Live Center. I'm monitoring the reaction from world leaders on these feeds that we're seeing here in the Live Center, including from the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, essentially congratulating former President Trump on his, quote, impressive election victory, though I should be clear, the race has not officially been called across the board. Zelensky said, I appreciate President Trump's commitment to the peace through strength approach in global affairs. This is exactly the principle that can practically bring just peace in Ukraine closer. Now, I should mention that Trump has previously been critical of the amount of aid the United States has provided to Ukraine. So in terms of what that would mean in the future, once his presidency should be solidified, we'll be watching that very clearly here on the WRAL Live Center.
Thanks, Chris. Democrat Jeff Jackson will be the state's next attorney general. Jackson beat Republican Dan Bishop in a tight race. The two were running to replace Attorney General Josh Stein, who, as we told you, won the race for governor. Bishop called Jackson to concede shortly after 11 last night. In his victory speech, Jackson says it's an honor to serve North Carolina.
The Attorney General's job is to be a shield for those in harm's way, whether it's violent crime, folks pushing fentanyl into communities, scammers going after your bank account, people polluting the air or the water. It will be my job to stand up to them on your behalf.
And Jackson currently represents a Charlotte area district in the U.S. House of Representatives. And before that, he was a member of the state Senate.
It appears Republicans will no longer have a supermajority in the North Carolina General Assembly. Michelle McConaughey is back now. Looks like Democrats were able to win enough seats to break that supermajority in the State House. And that is especially important considering Democrat Josh Stein will be governor, Michelle.
Yeah, Jeff, Republicans still have a big advantage in the House with 71 representatives to 49 Democrats. But that one seat that they're projected to lose is extremely important. That means they don't have 60% of the seats, which means they don't have a veto-proof majority. Now, the seat that's expected to flip in the 24th district representing Nash and Wilson counties. And with all precincts reporting, Democrat Dante Pittman won 50% of the vote over Republican incumbent Ken Fontenot. Republicans gained 2 seats in the Senate to maintain the majority there. You can see on the screen here. But losing the supermajority means that they will have to work more closely with Democrats if they want to override any of Stein's vetoes.
Michelle, thanks. The State Board of Education is considering an update for graduation and transcript requirements. The change would remove the option to offer pass or no pass for core classes. The board will discuss the update at their meeting this morning. There is a vote scheduled for tomorrow, and they will also consider some policy changes for counties affected by Hurricane Helene. The meeting begins at 10 a.m.
All 5 Wake School Board incumbents are leading their races early this morning. The only race that is close in northern Wake County, with all precincts reporting now Wing Ing. Now that That person leads Jordine, I should say, Blaze, and that is with just over 50% of the votes in. Blaze has just over 49%. Toshiba Rice, Lynn Edmonds, Sam Hershey, and Lindsay Mahaffey all lead by double-digit point margins. If they hold on, the school board would keep its 7-2 Democratic majority.
The Republican Party took home wins across several North Carolina statewide offices, starting with Commissioner of Agriculture. Longtime incumbent Steve Troxler will retain his position for the 20th year in a row. He earned 52.4% of the vote over Democrat Sarah Tabor's 45.1%.
And Republican Luke Farley remains North Carolina Commissioner of Labor. The incumbent took home more than 52% of the vote over Democrat Braxton Winston, the second percent to their 47.4% for that.
Covering Wake County, a library bond referendum passed with 56% of voter approval, and that means there will be money to build new libraries and expand others within the county. Happy reading there. 4:48. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with another clear day ahead. Elizabeth.
It looks like a nice quiet day for us. We'll likely see some increasing clouds later on today. But this morning when I walked in, I can see lots of stars. As we get through the morning, we may end up with some low cloud cover, even some patchy fog, but it doesn't look as widespread as it did yesterday. 62 degrees as you're headed out here in downtown Raleigh. By the time we get to lunchtime, temperatures will be in the mid 70s, and we are looking at another day with highs in the 80s. Very close to records. 60 in Fayetteville right now, 55 in Rocky Mount, 54 Roxborough, 64 in Southern Pines. 24-hour temperature change. We're running a little bit warmer than we were this time yesterday, and some places 5 to 7 degrees warmer than yesterday. We check out the big picture, continuing to watch this front. It's been moving very slowly. It's just right here along the Mississippi Valley right now. Still some rain with this, but we weren't anticipating a whole lot of rain. This time yesterday, it didn't look like we would see a lot. And then in some of the later runs of the models, it looked a little bit like a little bit heavier, but this morning the models have backed off just a little bit more. Here's today for us. We will see increasing clouds as we get through the day. It will be a dry start this morning. We'll have some mid-level to high-level clouds as we get into the afternoon. Here's 9 p.m. and at that point we begin to see some light showers, but it stays pretty light all the way up until the morning commute. Here's 6 a.m. Not looking terribly heavy. The bulk of the rain that we see is likely to be from the Triangle area southward, and even there, I think we'll be hard-pressed to see as much as a half an inch of rain, about a quarter or less up near the Virginia line. But it may feel unsettled for us for a good bit of the day. This is Thursday at around 8 p.m. Still the potential for a sprinkle or two. Again, maybe some pockets up to a half an inch around Fayetteville, the Triangle around a quarter of an inch, and then less than that as you head farther to the north. Taking a look at our Weather Watcher photo from last night, Kate Lundy, beautiful sunset there over Wendell. Looks gorgeous. We love your Weather Watcher photos. Go to WRAL.com and search Weather Watchers. Another warm up on the way, of course, for the next couple of days. 66 is our normal high, and the coolest day of the next 5 is likely to be Saturday at 69. Our morning lows are really warm. Our normal low is 43, and we are way above that all the way into early next week. So Thursday, overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday brings us our best chance of rain. We're watching another front though that comes in late Sunday into Monday for Veterans Day, where we could see another chance of at least some patchy light rain.
Thanks, Elizabeth. The Canes keep their winning streak going.
Yeah, how they got it done was particularly dramatic, and we'll show you the last-second goals that secured the win against the Philadelphia Flyers.
Welcome back. You're looking live at North Hills, and today it's going to feel very toasty. Could be the warmest day of the week with highs in the 80s. Like many people across North Carolina, Dr. Henry Zaytoon performed his civic duty. Dr. Zaytoon is 100 years old, and his son took him to vote yesterday at Root Elementary in Raleigh. His family says he hasn't missed an election in his entire life. That means he's been voting since 1942.
Carolina Hurricanes are keeping their hot streak going. They beat the Philadelphia Flyers last night 6-4. Marty Nate sealed the deal after scoring a goal in the last 30 seconds of the game. It's the 7th straight win for the Canes. They will now play the Pittsburgh Penguins tomorrow night at Lenovo Center.
Asheville Hockey League will soon have a new home thanks to help from the Carolina Hurricanes and the NHL. You may remember the league's rink was destroyed by Helene. The Hurricanes initially donated $50,000, but have now added another $25,000. And with an additional $10,000 from the NHL, the league has finally met its goal. In celebration, the Canes hosted players and officials from the Asheville League at their home game last night.
The Orange County Sheriff's Office hopes to give kids in western North Carolina some more holiday cheer. They are partnering with organizations in Black Mountain and Rutherford County for a toy drive. They're looking for new unwrapped toys for kids aged 0 to 16. You can drop them off at the Orange County Sheriff's Office anytime before noon, November 27th.
Hundreds of Oasis fans fell victim to ticket-selling scams ahead of the band's reunion tour next year. A UK banking group says fans lost an average of nearly $450 to fraudsters. Some lost as much as $1,300. The bank says more than 90% of the scams started on social media.
You can get up to date on COVID and flu shots in Wake County. The county is offering flu and COVID-19 vaccines at weekly walk-in clinics through November 20th. You can stop by the Public Health Department from 1 to 5 p.m. every Wednesday. Today's the day to get yours. No appointment is needed.
Ahead at 5, former President Donald Trump is very close to returning to the White House for a second term. Where the electoral votes stand right now as election officials across the country continue to count ballots.
North Carolina has a new public schools leader as well. We'll give you the final results.